Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Chris Loves Comics. It's Saturday. I hope you guys have found everything that you're looking for on New Comic Book Day on Wednesday. Before I get into the Green Lantern dive, I wanted to do a few announcements. One is for recommendations this week. I highly recommend reading the book Grommets by Rick Remender. It is a good sort of coming of age story if you're a kid of the 80s like I am. You can definitely relate to this story. It's about a kid who's just moved into town. He's a skater, and it's hard for him to make friends, but he meets somebody, and it definitely leads to some hilarious results. It's again, the book is Grommets by Rick Remender. Definitely recommend that. And one of one of the other topics I want to talk about is, and I'm just very excited to say this, as you all know, that my wife is going through cancer. First, it was diagnosed as stage 3 inflammatory breast cancer, and then we found out it wasn't so serious. But then her and the good doctors at Dana Farber were talking, and I guess after she had to go for a biopsy again, and they found out that she may probably, a strong percent, not need chemo, which is a huge relief for me and my wife and my family. It's been kind of a haul, mostly for her, but I just love her so much, and I just always want what's best for her. But she will go for surgery. She's going to be going for surgery not this Tuesday, but the following Tuesday, and I can't be more excited. It's definitely a win for the good guys. This whole thing has definitely put our lives in perspective, and we've definitely taken some thinking towards it. But through the grace of God, and with the grace of science, we're just very grateful. And I also want to say, on behalf of us, I think we're going to do a video later, just our way of saying thank you. Plus, you get to meet the missus. She's out shopping right now. Um, but, we just want to say thank you very much to anyone and everyone who's prayed or even thought of us, or just put some good energy in the air. We really appreciate it, and it's not hyperbole. We really do appreciate it, and we love you very much. But on a lighter note, I'm going to be going over Green Lantern. Now, Green Lantern is a character who is very near and dear to my heart. He also has a very lengthy history behind him. He's a golden age character in the same era as Batman. A few years down the road, but along the lines. But I will be going over which I think is the definitive run. And if you're looking to get started reading about Green Lantern, this is definitely where you want to go. I got the Omnis. This is the Alex Ross cover of Green Lantern. This is Volume 1. Really love that cover. And this is Volume 2. And this is the third and final volume. Now, there's two other Omnis which I do have, but I didn't bring with me because they're heavy books. The Blackest Night Omnibus, which is an event that happened during the Green Lantern run under Geoff Johns, but it also bled into other books. I highly recommend it. But if you're just looking for the main story of Blackest Night, it's in the second Omni. So you wouldn't have to get it, but I picked it because I wanted the tie-ins, and I'm a completionist, and it also looks great on the shelf. There's also another event called Brightest Day, which is another great event by Geoff Johns, which kind of ties in with Green Lantern. But that one you would need to get the Omni for that because it's not in the first three. But if you just want the main story of Green Lantern and Blackest Night, an event which it's one of my favorites, if not my favorite. Just get the first three Omnis. But to sort of explain Green Lantern, the main story from this, I'll give a little bit of history. Now, it all revolves around a pilot named Hal Jordan, and Hal Jordan was driving home, and a rocket came down a being came down, and it was this alien named Abensur, and Abensur had the Green Lantern ring. Now, to give you a little description of the ring. The ring is a willpower weapon. So what that means is the bear who has the Green Lantern ring, whatever you think, it'll form as a sort of an energy construct. So say if you imagine like a big fighter plane or a big car, it'll manifest itself, and you could ride in it. The Green Lantern ring also has other abilities. It also allows the user to fly. You have super speed. You also have the ability to time travel and space travel with the ring. So it is a very, very powerful weapon. And before Abensur the alien passed away, Hal Jordan came by to see how he was doing, and Abensur passed the ring on to Hal Jordan, and he said, "You have the ability to overcome great fear." Now, the reason that's important is these where these lantern rings come from. Sort of billions and billions of years ago, there were these not deities, but there were these sort of lawgivers, and they are called the Guardians of Oa. And Oa is the universe where these guardians reside. And they hand out rings to people who they think can overcome great fear and become sort of like law enforcement. So they're pretty much space cops. They pass the rings over the farthest corners of the universe and even further beyond for people or beings of their planets to become Green Lanterns, and they would be guarding that sector. Now, Hal Jordan, being a Green Lantern, he accepts the role, but he is not without supervision. He is taught under his partner, his name is Tal Sinestro, and that name will come up again in a little bit. Now, Sinestro is considered the best Green Lantern. He is the best of the best. He is one of if not the most powerful Green Lanterns, because he has full control of his ring. He has full control over fear. He is just very sure of himself. He's a very brilliant tactician. And later, Sinestro and Jordan become friends. And Jordan and Sinestro go back to Sinestro's planet, a planet called Korugar. And Sinestro says, look how well I've taken care of my planet. And you think there's peace throughout the planet, which there is, but this peace is instilled by fear, which is against the Guardians of Oa. You are supposed to overcome fear, but you're not supposed to instill fear. You're supposed to be sort of, the moral barometer. You're supposed to be the center. And after hearing this, that Sinestro has pretty much ruled his planet through tyranny, the Guardians of Oa hear of this, and they strip Sinestro of his ring. And Sinestro, feeling betrayed by the Guardians and feeling betrayed by his former protege, Hal Jordan, and his friend, who he thought was his friend, he goes out, he plans, and he makes his own ring, and they become yellow rings, which is the color of fear. Now, in the Green Lantern saga, there's different spectrums of what the aspects of being are. Green is light, goodness. Yellow is fear. Red is rage. Black is death. Indigo. I'm not sure what that is. It was briefly explained. I read this story a long time ago. And violet is another color. So there's 6. You will later on get involved with all lanterns of those spectrums. But one of the biggest stories is Sinestro versus Hal Jordan. And it forms if you look up in Google, the Sinestro Corps War, Sinestro makes his own Lantern Corps, the Yellow Corps. And without giving too much away, it is a very epic battle, and there's a lot of great scenes. But I also, besides Hal Jordan being the Green Lantern of Earth, there are other Green Lanterns of Earth. There is Kyle Rayner, who is a youngster, and he is known as the Light Bearer. He is an artist, and he used to be sort of a street person. He used to live out on the streets until the Guardian, when there was a point when Hal Jordan wasn't the Lantern, and that's another thing you can Google. Like I said, there's a lot of history involved with Hal Jordan, but I just wanted to briefly go over this run of Jeff Johns without spoiling. But yeah, Kyle takes over for Hal Jordan, but Hal Jordan also has a friend in the form of John Stewart, who is an architect, and he is also a former Marine. And the cool thing about him is his constructs as an architect. When he thinks of everything, he goes from like soup to nuts. Like, say if he makes a building, he'll think of the screws, he'll think of the foundation, he'll think of everything. And my favorite Lantern, he is his origin story has been shifted back from the 70s. It's been sort of written out, and there's a new history for him. Guy Gardner is a loudmouth, obnoxious person, but he had a rough childhood. His every time when Guy would do well in school, or whenever he excelled at anything, his father would beat him up and would make fun of him. And also, as the product of a broken home, Guy's older brother was looked upon fondly by his family, being a police officer, and again trying to sort of appease his father. Guy also tries to become a police officer as well too, but he doesn't make it, and it's just another eyesore for Guy Gardner's father. But what I like about Guy Gardner is, even though emotionally he's been beaten down, he just has such a humongous willpower. He thinks very highly of himself, and that's how he becomes a Lantern, because he just has such an undying, like, I'm sorry, he has like fortitude. He just has fortitude. He just, he knows he's a very capable person, and he knows he can get the job done. And also a very cocky person, which, to the chagrin of others, is, he drives them away with that. But that's before I close out this video, if you want to find out a funny scene of Guy Gardner, if you were to Google Justice League International and type in Guy Gardner and Batman, there's a funny scene with Batman and Guy Gardner. I won't spoil it for you, but that's also another aspect of Guy Gardner. But that's it for the dive of Green Lantern. Like I said, there's a lot involved, and there's a lot of other channels that do this better than me. But I just wanted to go over my love of Green Lantern. It's such a fantastic character, and when people think of DC, they usually think of either Flash, but mostly Superman and Batman as the big two. Like, Green Lantern should definitely be on your radar. Also, James Gunn is going to be doing a series on HBO, which I'm very excited for. Green Lantern definitely has a lot of heart. It has a lot of interstellar action. So if you're a fan of, like, for Marvel fans, if you're a fan of the Avengers or Fantastic Four, who have cosmic battles out there, this is definitely a read for you. But that's it for this week. I hope you guys are having a great week. I'm ecstatic from the great news that my wife received from the hospital. She's out right now, but we may do a video later just saying thank you. But we're very grateful to each and every one of you. I'm also going to put a link in the description down below of a few of my friends who have YouTube channels. Definitely give them a listen. I think you'll like what they have to say. But have a great weekend, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.